Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this is the 2024 Can-Am Outlander XMR 1000R. There's a sticker for every part of the name, big name and big unit. And the thing is, I review power sports, ATVs, motorcycles, all kinds of things almost every single day. And the reason I'm reviewing this one is because it just caught my eye. It looks amazing. And it's some of the things that aren't gonna show up on camera are the kinds of things I'm gonna show you here. So what I'm gonna try to do in this review video is try to bring some of the things that are on this unit to life, some of the things that sort of are maybe mentioned in the specs or maybe aren't mentioned in the specs. And I'm gonna try to bring them to life for you, try to show you what they are so that you have a better sense of what this thing is, because it really is amazing. And like I said, just walking by this thing, it really caught my eye. So I'm filming here at Extreme Torque Motorsports in Fredericton, New Brunswick. If you want to see this unit, it's here in the Fredericton location. You can also visit them in Woodstock and Moncton. They have 3 locations throughout New Brunswick. And if you want to see these things in person, Extreme Torque Motorsports is just packed with knowledgeable staff. They are really amazing to just help me, help you. But more importantly, if you can't see them and you just want to know more about this unit, make sure you subscribe and make sure you let me know in the comments the kinds of things that maybe I didn't mention in this review that you want to know more about, because I can come back to this unit again and again. The people here at Torque, they're amazing. They let me come back to these things. If there's any question you have, we're going to build a video database of information to get you all the information you need. So let's get going with this review. So when I say that this thing caught my eye, one of the first things I want to point out is something you're not going to really notice on video. These are 30-inch tires, and traditionally in this class and even in the Outlander lineup, you see about 26-inch tires. So you have a massive tire here, really high-riding vehicle. Of course, you've got the radiator up high, so that means you can really go through mud, and these are mud terrain tires. We're going to talk about some of that as we go through this. The other thing you're going to notice is the chassis itself is a larger chassis, kind of like a 2-person chassis, but it's clearly labeled for 1 person only. You've got a storage thing back here. We're going to show you some of that in a second. So overall, the presence of this thing is just phenomenal. It's a really, really large looking unit, but it's not super heavy and it's not super unwieldy. It's really, really capable. So let's zoom in a little closer and we'll take a look for you. So let's start by taking a look at the front end here. You've got a lot of things. We're going to pull you in closer in just 1 second here, but just the basics. Of course, everything here is included. So you've got a nice solid steel bar here, but you also have a lot of lack of bodywork down here. You've got a very smooth but heavily supported area here. So that means if you get in the mud, you're going to come out of here. You're not going to get stuck on the lower protection bars. You have a 3,500-pound winch with 469-pound units. So very over capacity winch for what you're working with here. So a lot of strength is built into this. Let's pull you a little closer. Let's take a look at the tires and the suspension. So off to the corner of your shot here, corner of your screen, you're gonna see that these sort of mud terrain type tires, fully trail capable as well, but they're really gonna dig through the mud. But what we're really looking at is in behind there, and you're gonna see that Showa suspension fork, or suspension, I said suspension fork, boy, I deal with motorcycles a lot. Showa suspension here, which is an upgraded suspension. You'll see this sort of, the Showa is often an upgrade suspension on a lot of power sports. We're gonna zoom in a little bit here, and we're gonna look at, first of all, the threads on top. So you can kind of see them up in there, just above that black line there. There's threads up top when it refocuses again. That is your preload adjustment. So there's a lot of preload adjustment. You can see it running right down through behind the spring there. And if you take a look at the spring, you've got a couple things that a lot of people don't notice when they first take a first glance. You've got a variable rate spring, and this is on all 4 corners. So what that's going to do is going to give you good control over the finer bumps, the smaller bumps, as well as over the larger bumps with that spring. So you've just got a little bit of a, like I said, variable rate. It's going to help you with the ride as well as for control. Let's step back out a little bit further and show you a few other things. So raising the shot from those shocks, you can see what we've got up here, that really tall radiator. And again, when I say tall, really tall. And of course, mounting this up high or repositioning this up high is gonna allow you to go through those really, really deep mud holes and get your nose right in there and have yourself clear. And that's, to me, the big thing with something like this is when you're on a unit that's this capable, what it does is it helps you avoid getting stuck in places where you don't wanna go anymore. So if you're out for that casual ride, especially with these big storms that we're having out east here right now, you get that big snow melt and you want to go out there and there's that one section that in the old ATV you just couldn't make it through or couldn't make it through with confidence. Well, this one's going to power through no problem. So it starts with the intake and everything being mounted up high to get you through. Other cool things is if you're stuck out late at night, you got LED lighting here, so quality LED lighting. But now let's talk about the powertrain on this, which is another really key component to what makes this special. When you talk about the powertrain on something like this, I'm going to use my cheat sheet here because there's so many little things worth talking about. First of all, it says 1000cc V-twin. It's actually a 976cc V-twin. It's got 91 horsepower, which is a lot. And the thing with the V-twin engine is it gives you that torque down low. That's why you see on various motorcycles like Harley Davidson's, for instance, not known for their peak horsepower, but known for their really good torque. They use V-twins. Same thing with this V-twin. It's going to give you that torque. And one of the key differences in a mud machine like this with this much power, you kind of see guys doing wheelies and all kinds of things on YouTube, but the real benefit of this is where other units are just full out max, or I say twist my throttle, but full out max throttle with your thumb here through a mud hole or through something like that. This one you're not going to have to go max horsepower. Let's say max horsepower is 60 horsepower on some other unit and you're max throttle. Well, on this one, you're going to be able to go partial throttle and have some reserve to dig through those things. But you've got a few other things that are key to this. So you've got the intelligent throttle control, which is a piece of this. So that's a more intelligent computerized type throttle control. You've got selectable four-wheel drive, that kind of thing, Viscolock. But you've also got the driving modes. You've got an eco, standard, sport mode, and then the intelligent engine braking. So again, the CVTs often will have just sort of a coasting down the hill. Well, now it's got a built-in engine braking system, so it's going to really give you that control going down the hill. And then you've got the tri-mode dynamic power steering, or DPS they call it. What that means is it's sort of a variable rate power steering when you're stuck in the mud and you want to just like move that steering when you're at a slow speed to try to get that grip back. It's going to give you the power to do that, but when you get up to higher speeds, it's going to kind of stiffen up that steering, sort of speed it up to make it a little bit better for slow speed and high speed driving. So that dynamic power, electric power steering, really going to make a difference. What that means is from the cooling system to the engine to the steering to the braking to the engine braking to everything else, this entire thing is built for performance, and it makes you feel like a hero when you're driving. You don't need the skill, and sometimes even skill doesn't get you there. You've got a machine that's going to do everything it can to get you out of those holes, out of those difficult spots, which means you can enjoy the entire ride, not just the easier parts or the medium difficulty parts, including the hard parts. This thing makes it easy. So now let's come in a little bit closer. We'll show you some of the key pieces on the unit. So taking a look at the back of the unit, again, tough thing to see on camera. I'm filming kind of from an up to down angle just to kind of get everything in the shot, but that kind of minimizes the look of the ground clearance. But even little things like the frame rails and the hitch frame comes up. So it's tilted up towards the camera there. The hitch, of course, can tow 1,650 pounds. So when you're spending the kind of money to buy this 1000cc unit, you want to make sure you can tow as well. So 1,650 pounds is going to allow you to get the work done that you need. So it's not just a plaything, even though it's going to look like a plaything, it's actually capable of getting that work done for you as well. Again, the adjustable Showa, preload adjustable Showa forks, or Showa shocks here, boy, I keep calling them forks, and that variable spring rate there as well. The mud terrain tires you can see here as well. The other thing that's really cool is you have this little hatch back there, opens up, pretty good size hatch there with a nice little rubber gasket seal. It's going to keep some of the, mud and stuff out of there, but you do have a place where you can keep that, your gear in there that's in a little bit of a covered area. And then let's talk about what you see on top of all that. So taking a look at the rear rack here, now remember you only have the rear rack because you've relocated a lot of that cooling system to where the front rack would be, so you're going to make use of this one a lot. And there's a lot of things that I like mentioning here. First of all, although this is plasticky, all of this section here, everything that's sort of raised in this section, everything that's kind of raised around these sections here and raised around this section here has a rubbery feel to it. So even if you're just placing something down and strapping it down, you've got that kind of grippy feel to it that's going to hold things in place. That's a key thing to remember. But the bigger thing is you have this link system. Now, Can-Am to me is as much an accessory company as they are a power sports company. They have accessories for everything, and all of these little sort of slots here are going to allow you to put in various components here. You want a box on the back, you want other things in the back, every kind of component you could possibly want on an ATV. These guys have it. They easily quick attach to this, they quick release from this, and that gives you some option. And remember we talked about this being a larger chassis. This is sort of that almost that two-person chassis that's a single-person ride. We're going to show you the seat in a second shot here, but let's just show you this little box right here. Because you've got that space, you've got a box that opens up. I'm probably on the wrong angle to show you inside there. Let me just look at my watch. That's my viewfinder. Yeah, we're on the wrong angle. So we're going to film over on this angle and talk about this box right here. All right, so you already saw me release that box with the two handles on the side. You can flip it up here, and you can see right in here, there's that link system. So you can sort of twist this to unlock it and pull this box off if you wanted to. But this has a little rubber gasket seal in there. Again, not a ton of space, but it's got a little bit of space. Again, it's gonna keep some of the mud out. And the other thing I like that people don't notice is there's a little bit of a hole here and a hole there. You can put some padlocks on there or something, combination lock, whatever you want, and lock it in place as well as just holding it closed. So with the way these two clamps hold on to that rubber gasket, I would say this is probably a very water resistant, mud resistant place to have. Again, it is higher up in the unit, so it's really dealing with splashes more than submersion, but I would say that this is a probably pretty good spot to be mud and rain resistant. Looking on there, you can see there is a little symbol there on the back of that styled area to show you that this is a one-person unit. Let me just show you what it looks like with me on it, and then we're gonna start showing you through the dash and controls. So I pulled the camera a long ways out to show you this unit here. First of all, if you're standing on this, you've got a really, sort of in control, area here. The angle of the front radiator allows me to really see down. Even when I'm sitting, it doesn't distract my view at all. So this angle of the radiator at a seated position is right there. I can still see everything I would right in front of me as if it didn't have that radiator out front. Of course, when you look forward, you can really look forward. And when you're tilted back, it's actually got foot grips back here. We're gonna show you them in just a second to allow me, again, if the unit was way leaned back like this in the mud and I'm coming out of a mud hole, I have proper foot grips there that would allow me to sort of stand back there, and I'm on the wrong angle here, to keep my weight forward, my feet on the back, and stay fully in control. So seating overall, very comfortable, very plush, comfortable seat here. Can-Am just really does seats well. There's just, it's hard to find an uncomfortable unit there. Brake pedal down here, throttle, everything's exactly where you would want it. Let's take you in a little bit closer. We're gonna show you these foot areas first, and then we'll move you through the controls. All right, so on the top of the shot here is your seat. On the bottom of the shot here is the plastics on the outside. And then you've got that steel area right there. And that is steel. I don't have a microphone on it, but you can kind of hear that. And then you've got the nice steel foot peg there. All of those really good grippy. And the other thing I like for a mud unit, you can see there's a lot of drainage holes there. So you're gonna have a quick draining area. And again, it's hard to sort of show on a level ground in the studio here exactly how useful that plate is, but I kind of looked at that, what was that for? And then all of a sudden it clicked in my head as you're standing on that, it's just the perfect angle to climb out of that mud hole. So you've got great foot areas there, fit big boots, lots of space, brake pedal there as well. Everything's all, first of all, there's some style in here, but there's a lot of function as well. So now let's take a look up closer, and we're gonna hop on with a handheld camera and take a look at some of the controls. All right, so this is the traditional view. I'm gonna go a little wide angle on you, and that can skew the edges of the video a little bit, but I just kind of wanna, it gives you a more realistic view of what we're seeing here. So jumping on this side here again, you're gonna see your gear shift over here, so maybe we'll jump in from the wide angle for just a second there. You can see the park, reverse, neutral, high, and low. The low gear on this model is, at least in the specs, they talk about it being an extra low gear. So something worth noting. Again, just something that's gonna help you climb out of those mud holes. As I jump on here, you can see, same dash we looked at yesterday. Yesterday we were looking at, we'll show you it over there. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, we were looking at the MXZ snowmobile right over there. It's pretty cool, and this one shares the same dash with that. Now the problem with these Can-Am units is I can't keep the dash running unless I have the vehicle running. I'm not gonna run it inside, but I do wanna show you the key here. And I don't talk about this key enough on the Can-Am's system. So it's, again, fully electronic key. It's not the way the key is cut that makes it work. It's the electronics in there. And then you have this little key tag here, which you can clip to your body if you wanted to. If you did that, and if you were to fall off this unit, it's gonna pull the key off of this thing. But again, just regular banging it, that kind of thing, it's not falling off. So just, you have that option there, which is kind of nice. So we'll try to get the dash to come to life just for a second here. We'll zoom in. And again, it's gonna come on and off a couple times. Let me just see if I've got the kill switch is off. Let's just see. There we go. So everything comes to life. A little bit of an orangey red backlight. Simple park gear indicator up there. Four-wheel drive indicator there. You've got your, what is that? Your Celsius, 21 Celsius right now. And then you've got dynamic power steering indication right there. Let's turn it back on again. Fuel gauge on the far left that came up there, and then the dynamic power steering is set to a max, so that is a max assist type setting, so you can customize that. Trip computers through there, and then you also have, let me just show you here, your trip computers and your menu button, so I can cycle through some of these, turn it back on for a second. and sort of give you a sense of what you've got in your battery voltage, different settings. You can go to the RPM, you can go to the speed statistics or speed information, engine temperature. So there's all kinds of things you can cycle through there. Over here is your temperature gauge. So all of those are going to be always live for you. Kind of showed you the best I could while I'm indoors. We can show you that again in the future. All right, let's take a look at the basic controls here. So first of all, brake with a parking brake there. Feels pretty good. It's you know, solid feeling brake. Then you've got your headlights off, on, and high beam right there. All the switch gear again on these Can-Ams feels really, really good. Start switch, of course, right there. Kill switch right there. And then the over rev button there, and then your winch down here. Coming across to the other side here, you've got that ITC, so that intelligent throttle control. Basically your drive modes is what that's going to be. So it's more of a electronic throttle type thing. So it's going to give you a sort of a dulled down throttle in that eco mode, that sport mode as well. It's going to give you more immediate power when you give the throttle there. So it just kind of suits what you want it to do. Sometimes you want that instant feel, sometimes you don't. So whatever you want to do there, you've got the option. Then you got the front differential lock right there, and so you can sort of power everything on, and you know, all of sort of the controls that you need there, throttle down low. So very easy, very simple stuff, typical kind of control. We'll just go wide angle again. And again, this is probably a good angle to show you kind of what it feels like to be riding this. And when I talked about that, that radiator, again, not blocking your view. Again, I got the camera a little bit different angle than I would my head, but you can kind of see that, you know, if you look straight down at it, you can see it like that. But if you can see, it kind of falls in line for where you would be sitting anyways, to show you that it doesn't block your view when you're in front. I've got the camera lower here, but when I'm sitting up top here, I can see exactly in front the same way I would as if there was nothing out there. So again, just that angle is smart to have. So let's talk about who this unit is for. Now, like I mentioned from the start, this could be as simple as someone who wants something that looks really cool. It could just, that's what could make it for you. But to me, I think the people who are spending this kind of money, that are wanting this kind of unit, they're wanting it for a specific reason. And I think to me, where it really appeals is when I go out on my ATV, and I'm out there in the trails, especially now with some of those major storms or after the snow melt, you know, you go through your trails, you go through, you know, trails you haven't been on before sometimes, and you head down and you find muddy areas. And to me, it's always like, should I go through it? Will I get stuck? If I'm out here alone, do I have to call for help? How long will help take to get here? You know, it's always important for me to go out with a winch, especially if I am on my own. You should always go out with friends if you can. But something like this really changes the game for you. It allows you to get into those mud holes and pretty much know that you're getting out, to know you're not going to damage things. Again, that CVT, everything else, the engine itself, it's got relocated snorkel, essentially throwing everything up here, which means you can get a little deeper. It's got the mud tires. It's got a lot of extra height and traction. Sometimes just simply having the ground clearance and the larger wheels. Again, if you think about a dirt bike, they've got 21-inch front wheels compared to a 17-inch front wheel on a motorcycle. It's the same idea here. That larger front wheel, or the larger wheels all around, are going to help you climb through and over things. You've got the tread pattern to get through mud, but you can still use this as trail. So to me, what this does is it takes the guesswork out of, can I go down that trail? Can I make it down even though it rained yesterday or a lot of snow melted or whatever else is going on? Can I get there, and can I get there comfortably? And with this thing, you absolutely can. This thing is super, super capable, not just in the looks department, but in the electronics, with the drive modes, with the steering, the dynamic power steering control. All of those things are going to work with you to get you where you want to go effortlessly. And to me, that's the thing about the engine too. This 1000cc or nearly 1000cc V-twin engine, it's not just about showing off and having a ton of power to do, you know, fun things. It's also about not having to be maxed out full throttle going through every mud hole. It's about half throttle, 3/4 throttle, and having still more power than anybody you're with to get through and do those things. So it's just kind of that perfect unit to overly be capable, to overdo it so that you don't have to worry. And to me, that's the whole fun of these things. You want to go out there and not worry. Am I going to be in trouble? Am I going to get stuck? Am I going to this and that? You go out on your ATV to have a good time, to relax, to go see nature, to go explore, to go hunting, to do whatever you're going to do. With this thing, you're going to get there. Nice thing is, again, having that extra powerful winch, you can pull people out of situations where maybe they can't get out of themselves. You also have the ability to do some work with that 1,650-pound towing capacity. This is a unit that can do it all for you but it is really geared for those extreme riding. So if you want to get into those mud holes, that's what this is for. And to me, that's what makes this thing super cool. So you got to come see it in person. Again, I'm filming here at Extreme Torque Motorsports in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Anywhere in New Brunswick, this is your local dealer, whether it's Fredericton, Woodstock, or Moncton, they can take care of you. They're just awesome staff. They're really, really knowledgeable staff. Again, if there's something you want to know about this or anything in the Can-Am, Skidoo, Lynx lineup, anything like that that you want to know about, make sure you let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like just to help Torque know that you appreciate these videos, because again, I get to come back to these again and again and again to make sure you get the information you want. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.